Welcome back to Fanbased. It's just two of us today again. Boston's on a business trip. I'm sure he'll talk more about that when he gets back.
Trip.
Business trip for real. But yeah, I mean, we obviously saw that Cam is way better at predicting what's going to happen in the NFL than I am. I am Boston. We both sucked. Cam pretty much went crazy except for the Cowboys game. That I don't think anybody really thought that Dallas was going to lose. We all kind of felt that way. Like it's Dallas and Green Bay's been playing well, but in reality, I don't think anybody actually thought that Green Bay was going to win that game. But other than that, I'm pretty sure you didn't miss Cam.
Nah, I had Philly winning.
Oh
Philly,
yeah, Philly.
Philly and Dallas, and then in my other bracket, I mean, the Steelers won, so obviously that hit.
Yeah, we didn't even touch. We didn't even put on that other bracket on there because we knew. I mean, the Steelers actually put up a solid fight. I was pretty impressed. I know they got a couple of calls on to go their way, but I still don't think if they had those, I still don't think they're going to win that game.
Well, time out. The Steelers had calls go their way.
No, they had a couple of calls not go their way.
Oh, okay, yeah. I was about to say yes, we did. Okay, Pat Fryermuth's fumble in the second drive. That was an actual fumble. That should not have been our ball still.
No, I thought they were saying that. I thought they said it hit his helmet when
They
he was out
said
of
it in
bounds.
this moment, and I could see why they were saying that, but I was like, eh. But then I don't know. That one was a really iffy call, and they called it on the field. That the call on the field was really what mattered in that situation. But I was gonna say, yeah, we definitely did not get any calls our way the rest of the game. And listen, right? I'll go ahead. I'll spill on this game real quick because I don't know if we're gonna recap, but I'm gonna go ahead and put this in because we're talking about it right now. Look, we had two guys off the couch starting on defense for the last 5 weeks of the season. We had Mason Rudolph, the guy who got benched for Devlin Hodges in 2019, starting at quarterback for us for the last 5 weeks of the season. The fact that we even got in the playoffs, I was happy, right? I was happy. But look, the Bills were a way better team than us on paper, on the field, everything, right? They outplayed us. They didn't make any of the turnover mistakes that we did. And that's not how a 7 seed wins a playoff game, especially in the NFL. You have to win the turnover battle. Look at the Packers. Why do you think they won by 16 points or whatever it was? They won the turnover battle. Actually, matter of fact, they won. Not only did they win the turnover battle, they got points off of turnovers, like pick sixes and stuff. Whereas we didn't force a single turnover, and I think that was a big, big key for us. But I'm proud of us for putting up 17 against them on the road. I kind of knew that they were going to score somewhere in that 30 range. And I kept on telling all my friends that are Steeler fans, like, hey, we have to score 30. Like, if we want a chance to win, we have to score 30 points or we're going to have to force them for 5 turnovers. Sorry, the dog's tweaking. But yeah, I mean, I'm proud of the guys, man, but I understand why everybody was counting us out. And I think that if some of those calls, I'm not trying to blame the refs because, yeah, we got outplayed, like I said, but there was some calls that I feel like if they would have made the right call when we had momentum, I feel like the outcome, I'm not saying we would have won, but I think the outcome could have been different. I think the big one was we made it a one touchdown game late in the game. It was 24-17, and Josh Allen has 18,000 seconds in the pocket. Literally pretty much is just throwing it away. Dalton Kincaid's 30 yards down the field. Josh Allen is pretty much just throwing it away. And Miles Jack kind of held him. Yeah, kind of held him. But the ball was absolutely uncatchable. There was no chance. Miles Jack could have been 18 yards away from Dalton Kincaid. And if that ball was thrown in the same spot, it would not have gotten caught, right? But that was the big, big turning point because then that gave them, whatever, and it kind of took air out of us and whatever. But it happens. It's football. We lost. We weren't going to win the Super Bowl, I don't think. But we would have beat the Ravens. No, I'm just kidding. Maybe. I don't know. But yeah, let's get into this week's games. We got or if you want to talk about a game, you can.
No, you got. I mean, we're going to kind of talk about the last games, or we're talking about the new ones. I mean, that's kind of how you break down the next level of games is what happened in the last one,
Yeah.
So, yeah, you go ahead. You jump right into it. You got it.
All right. Saturday, 4:30. We got our first AFC playoff game. We got the Texans at the Ravens. To my surprise, this is the first I've looked at the spreads. The Ravens are -9.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
And in my opinion, I told y'all I told y'all that man CJ Stroud would go off against the Browns. I knew it. I knew what was happening. Um, but
I mean,
I
there was hold up before. I know there was never any debate that CJ isn't the guy.
no,
It
yeah,
was
oh
more of
yeah,
just that's a young team. The Browns had a ton of experience. And what I say, what I said, the way the Texans win this game is if Joe Flacco throws a few picks, especially if one of them goes for six. That's exactly what happened. This game was close until Joe Flacco threw back-to-back picks. I mean, for six, that's a huge. What are you supposed to do with that? I mean, that's a
right.
28-point swing if you think that they're going to go score on that drive. I mean, that's like you can think of it that way, or you can even say 14 points you just handed to Houston. That's what did it.
Yeah, for sure. But in Baltimore, first time I think the playoffs have been in Baltimore in a little while now. Listen, I'm not saying, and if Baltimore fans see this clip and they're like, oh, but you're a Steelers fan and y'all do the same thing. Yes, I know. But Baltimore hasn't been that good in the playoffs recently. Honestly, they haven't. Um, but I still think they win this game. 9 points is a little bit too much for me, though. I'm going to take Baltimore to win this football game, but I'm going to take Houston to cover 9 points, actually.
Yeah, I think I'm on the same page as you. I think Houston can win this game. There's always that situation for me, and I know you see it a little differently, but I don't think that the Steelers legitimately had a chance to win that Buffalo game. Like, obviously, this NFL and anything can happen, but you're talking about like what are the real chances that Steelers had to beat Buffalo? I don't see that as this game. I see the Texans legitimately having a shot. I think they will cover the 9 because CJ Stroud is that good, and I think Lamar might not outplay CJ, and the Ravens could still win because their defense is good. Um, I think you know it's going to be an interesting one because CJ could. I almost was thinking about my guarantee ahead of time, and I was really thinking I could guarantee that CJ throws for 3 touchdowns, like, and they could still lose, which is kind of crazy. Um, but yeah, I feel like the Texans are going to win. Like that's one of those gut feelings. Like like I kind of feel like the Texans and the Packers are both going to win. Like that's my gut feeling. But there's no way that's going to happen. There's no way both of those teams win. I think one probably will. But both, no. So I'm going to have to take the Ravens probably to win that game as well. Just Lamar. I mean, Lamar's MVP, right? I mean,
Yeah,
he's the
yeah,
MVP for a reason. We're gonna he's just good.
yeah,
Um,
for sure.
and since
Um,
we're kind of on the topic, we might as well jump right into Packers Niners. Unless what were you about to say?
I was just going off of the schedule. I was gonna do both Saturday games and both Sunday games.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's like for Packers Niners, it's just the Packers are playing such good football right now. I know Jair is still kind of banged up. I know like he went out for a little bit against Dallas, but they didn't have to play late. And earlier you said it's a 16-point game. The game was over at 27-0. Once that game was 27-0, the game was over. I mean,
Yeah,
Dallas scored at half, like before half, so they had life. No, that game was over. There was no stopping Jordan Love. And if they get in that kind of groove, I don't think there's any defense that can stop them. Because I know the Cowboys defense has had their struggles recently, but they're still good. They're still a top tier defense. They still got good pass rushers. They still got solid corners. I mean, I know like Deron Bland isn't like amazing, but he did just set the record for most pick sixes in a season. Obviously, he's got some skill. He got destroyed. Um, and we talked about Fred Warner being an MVP type guy. I know he's a bigger like difference maker, but I don't know. It just if you can tear apart Dallas' defense for that many points, I think they could do a similar thing to San Francisco's defense.
mm-mm,
You
mm-mm,
don't think so?
mm-mm.
I just think they can. I love the way Jordan Love is playing right now. I've never seen a quarterback play with this much confidence and have this much just like faith in his rookie and second year receivers. I know they highlight that all the time. They love to talk about it. But I mean it really is impressive. And if any team can beat the Niners, I honestly think that it's the Packers. I think the Lions, because they're we'll talk more about that, but I don't think the Lions legitimately have a shot to beat the Niners. I think the Packers do. I think the way the Lions get to the Super Bowl is if the Packers win and then they beat the Packers. Just the way matchups go. But yeah.
Mm, mm. Yeah, I'm gonna keep this one short and simple, man. I like the enthusiasm here. Now, for how much I would love to see the 49ers just go ahead and lose right now. Oh, it'd be so nice. But I'm going 49ers. 9.5 is like really weird because like I could definitely see them winning this game by 10 points, but it's a really really weird thing. You were talking about, yeah, they did shred Dallas's defense. They did, but that 49ers defense is something else. I know the
Yeah.
Dallas defense is not bad. I'm not saying the Dallas defense is bad, but that 49ers defense is on a whole nother level. I'm going to have to take the 49ers, especially being at home. Shout out the Packers for playing great ball right now, though. 9.5 is so weird. I'm going to stay away from the spread on this one. I'm just going to take 49ers straight
Oh,
up.
Packers.
Clip it, clip it.
Clip it. Hey, Cam got one wrong finally. Let's go.
And then moving to Sunday, staying in NFC, we've got Tampa Bay, surprisingly, to me at least. I don't know, I guess not to some people. Traveling to Detroit. This Tampa Bay team, man, is so weird because their offense is one of the most, like, what's the word? Volatile
Yes. It's crazy.
offenses I've ever seen. Like, you playing all your guys in week 18 beat the Panthers 9-0. You could not find the box on week 18 against the Panthers. And then you go put up 32 in the wild card round and looked like great on offense. It's so weird. But I tell you, I said it in my playoff bracket last week. I'm trusting the guy, Dan Campbell, to get the job done at home against the Bucks and advance to the NFC Championship for who knows how long it's been since Detroit's been in an NFC Championship game. 6.5 again is so weird. I might take the Lions in -6.5. I could definitely see them just being like a 7, 10, 14, 17, somewhere in there, like, point differential win for the Lions. So give me the Lions -6.5. Yeah.
Yeah, this is one of those. It's hard for me because like the whole week, right? We said Dallas is going to win, like for the Packers game, and then right before the game, I'm literally talking to Crosby. Like if we had FanDuel here, I would be like, "Yo, I would literally have put $500 on the Packers before that game started." It was just a gut feeling I had before the game. I was like, "The Packers are going to win this game," and that was before kickoff. It wasn't like that first drive. Like it was before. I was like, "The Packers are going to win this game," and I get that feeling a lot before games, and I'm like, "Dang, why did I pick that beforehand?" Like this is one of those like the Bucks could for me just like imagine how many points they would have put up if they didn't settle for what 4 field goals. They settled for a lot of field goals against Philly, and their offense looked really good. They have the weapons to be good. Their run game is a little spotty. I mean, they were dead last. They were dead last in run offense this year, which is going to be a problem if they can't run the ball against Detroit. This is going to get out of hand. But if we get a Rachaad White 100-yard game, they're going to be around at the end of the game. And I mean, Baker Mayfield, just be careful of Baker Mayfield in a late game situation. I trust him. I trust Baker Mayfield to drive me down the field and win me a game over Justin Herbert. Like let's just be completely real here. I'm a Herbert. I'm not a Herbert guy. I trust Baker Mayfield to go win me a game. If it comes down to it, hey, let's clip this right here. If it comes down to the Bucks with like 2, 3, 4 minutes left and they need to drive to win the game or tie it, Baker will get you there. He will do it. Just saying. With all that being said, all that rambling, I still think the Lions are going to win. They probably will win by 10 to 14 points because they're a much better team. They're going to run the ball well. I know Tampa's run defense is good, which is another reason I think they can possibly win. But it doesn't matter how good your run defense is when you're facing a top 5 offensive line that's just going to run you over and keep running the ball and give you mixed like running backs when you got Montgomery one play and Gibbs the next. I mean, it's going to be the Lions game, I think. A 6.5, I'm honestly going to take that too.
Yeah, for sure. And then moving on, last game of the week, going back to AFC, Sunday night-ish, Sunday evening, a rematch of a game we've seen in the playoffs 18,000 times in the past couple of years. A game we saw in week, I don't know, maybe 12-ish, somewhere around there this season in Kansas City. Now we're in Buffalo. Mahomes, Allen, part like 5, probably somewhere around there. The NFL couldn't resist having this matchup again, so they had to give the Bills all the flags.
Yeah, that's what happened.
Yeah. But in Buffalo, 20 degrees, going to be a cold ball game. Both these teams obviously coming off of a cold ball game last week. Chiefs was I think it was fourth coldest game recorded at kickoff. I'm pretty sure it was like -4, I think, when
Yeah, so
or
this is a warm game for them. They're good.
yeah, 20 degrees. So it's warm for them. In week, whatever it was when they played, 18, 17, 16, week 14, I think is what this is. Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes had very similar games, 23 for 42, 25 for 43, both in between, both around that 250 range, one touchdown, one pick. But I think the difference in this game was James Cook. James Cook really emerged in that game. Had like 80 something receiving yards and a touchdown. Had like 50 rushing yards. He had a great game against Kansas City. However, I think Kansas City's going to show up this time, and they're going to say, James Cook, you're not doing this again, right? So I think the way that Buffalo really wins this game is we haven't really seen it. Let me look at his stat line against us last week. I actually don't know what it was.
It wasn't great. He really
No,
didn't have a
not
great
James
game.
Cook, my bad. James Cook
Oh,
did have a good game. He had 18 carries, like 79 yards. The person I was
that's
referring
not.
to, okay, he didn't have a terrible game, was Stephon Diggs. He had 7 catches for 52 yards against us last week, which against our secondary, I don't know if that's like great, but like in grand scheme of things, you're like, oh, okay, that's not that bad, right? 7 catches, 52 yards, whatever. Not a bad game from a receiver.
I don't know, but you're
But,
talking a guy that you're trying to mark his top five. I mean, that's not a good game in my opinion. You're talking about. I mean,
oh yeah,
you're talking about a guy that like I don't think he's top five, but you're talking about a guy that a lot of people would put top five. That's not a good game.
yeah, no, I agree. I agree. That's why I was like iffy on trying to say if it's a good game. But
Yeah.
he has not shown up the past few weeks. Stephon Diggs has been a ghost, and I think the key to this game. I'm not sure if Gabe Davis is out again, but he was out against us last week. He's listed as questionable. But if Gabe Davis misses the game again, Stephon Diggs has to show up. Stephon Diggs has to get in L'Jarius Sneed's space and be like, I'm him. Like, he's got to do it. And if
Mm-hmm.
Stephon Diggs can do that and Josh Allen can play another, like, turnover free-ish game like he did last week against Pittsburgh. And, he only threw a pick against Kansas City. I don't know if he fumbled any, but one turnover against Kansas City's defense. Stephon Diggs, big game. Khalil Shakir stepping up again. Tight end stepping up again like they did last week. James Cook having a decent game. Defense stops Mahomes 2 times. Bills win. I'm going to take the Bills because they are
Wow.
at home. Very tough environment. -3. Hot take. Give me the Bills to push -3. 3-point game again.
Is it going to be one of those classic field goals, or is it going to be Buffalo stopping Kansas City as they're trying to drive and tie it?
I'm gonna go. I'm not betting against Mahomes if he has the ball trying to tie or win the football game. No, sir. I'm gonna go Buffalo. Buffalo kicks a field goal with like 7 minutes left in the game to take the lead, and that's it.
Wow.
And that's
If you get this one right, if they kick a field goal around 7 minutes left to win the game, I'm gonna think you're just like from the future at this point because you've been so good on your
hey,
predictions.
27-24. No, I'm just kidding.
Every time it's back.
Stop.
27-24 is back, baby.
No,
I think this one's a little higher scoring than that. Honestly, I think we might get like a weird like a 30-27 maybe. I don't know.
I mean,
I feel like it's gonna be a weird score. I feel like we're gonna get like a blocked extra point or like they're going for 2 or something weird in this game. I feel like it's not gonna be one of those traditional ones. I don't know, man. In my head, saying pick the Bills, right? They're the better team all around, other than quarterback. And Josh Allen is not leaps and bounds worse than Patrick Mahomes. As much as I've hated on him, as much as I've criticized him for his turnovers, he's reduced them. He's done a better job when it matters most. He did what he needed to do to win that division. They really shouldn't have won that division. He did it. I know he got some help from the Dolphins, being the Dolphins too, but um, you know, he's played well, and if he has less than if he only has one turnover or zero, that's what they win the game, in my opinion. I don't, and I
Yeah,
think even if he throws a pick, unless he goes for six, because those are such a backbreaker in a playoff game. Unless he throws a pick six, one pick or one fumble, they're okay. The Chiefs getting some pressure on him and forcing him out of the pocket and forcing him to make a play he doesn't want to make, especially on like a third down, third and seven where he can't run and get it, and they force him to make a throw to his right when he's rolling left. That's where you get him. That's where you got to make Josh Allen make that mistake.
yeah,
But Mahomes is just as liable to make that same kind of mistake. We're acting like Mahomes doesn't, kind of a turnover heavy guy as well. We just don't notice it as much because he wins and he's Patrick Mahomes, and everybody always praises him. But he's that same kind of guy. He's gonna take chances, and
yeah.
sometimes it makes him look like Houdini, and other times it's like, are you Daniel Jones? Like, what are you doing? Like, for real, he's just. I think Patrick Mahomes gets a lot of love, or like deservedly so, but they're similar kind of quarterback to me. I mean, obviously they're very different as far as Mahomes is not going to run you over like Josh Allen will in the run game. But as far as the throws they make down the field, being able to be elusive out of the pocket, and they're pretty similar, and they're risk takers. So yeah, give me the Bills. Give me the Bills -3, and I don't think they're going to push. I think they probably win by 7, or 4, like 4 to 7 range,
Yeah.
because do and I know I said this last week about Jared Goff and Matthew Stafford, but this is almost kind of a different situation. Are you telling me that you would rather have MVS, Kadarius Toney, if he's even going to play? I mean, Rashee Rice is good. He's really showing out, but
Yeah.
none of those guys. You could put those guys' skill sets together, and they're not Stephon Diggs.
Yeah.
And I know Kelsey is good, but Kincaid is pretty good, and Kelsey's aging out of his prime, and Dalton Kincaid is good, and he kind of balances that tight end. Now I know, like, I'm not saying they're the same caliber, but when you're saying Stephon Diggs is this much better than the Chiefs receivers, and Kelsey's only this much better than Kincaid, I don't know. They got similar defenses. I just keep talking because I really don't know, man. It's just it's going to be a great game. I'm excited, and
Oh
let's just
yeah,
say
for
that.
sure. I think
Yeah,
I think at most whoever wins this game wins by at most like 8 to 10 points at the very
yeah.
most. I
At the
think it's
very most,
yeah, I think it's gonna be a very close game. I honestly like I don't want to jinx the Lions, but like, and I hate to count out the Bucks because damn, I counted them out last week. That's for sure. But like I feel like if there's gonna be any blowouts this weekend, it's gonna be Bucks Lions. Like I don't think the 49ers will blow. It depends on what your blowout definition is too. My blowout definition would be like 17 or more, probably, right? That'd be like blowing someone out. Now, the Packers Cowboys game last week was a little bit different of a situation because like they were blowing them out, and then the Cowboys just kind of like kept their
garbage time,
kept their guys
garbage
in,
time.
and yeah, yeah. But I think if there's a blowout this weekend, it would be Lions Bucks. But like, I really don't think there's going to be one this weekend. I think all of the games are going to be close. Like actually, like I think Ravens Texans is going to be very close. I think 49ers Packers is going to be pretty close for the most part. And then I honestly both AFC games I could easily see being a field goal or touchdown game, like a one possession game. And I
Yeah,
could also see I could see both NFC games being, like 14 or less also. So I mean, I'm excited honestly. Like I mean it's NFL playoffs, man. I mean, you go to the AFC and NFC championship to play to go to the Super Bowl. Gotta give it your all, man. You got to. Got to.
yeah. And that's the thing is, like, last week were a lot of blowouts. Maybe you look at the final score and some of them don't look that bad, but when you get a game where you're not even really tuned in anymore, you're not locked in, that's a blowout. And whether that's 10 or
Yeah.
17, and I think that's the way the Niners game may go. I think it may be close, and then the fourth quarter you get a touchdown drive for San Fran to go up by 10, and then the Packers have to punt with like 6 minutes to go, and then from there it's kind of over. I feel like maybe that's how that 49ers game will go, unless the Packers play well. And I really think if the Packers if the Packers win this game, it will not be a close game, in my opinion. I think if they win this game, they're going to come out and they're going to win. Like it's going to be a no doubter. It's
Mm,
like that's how I think they win.
mm,
I'm not saying my prediction is the Packers are going to come out there and win by 10 points,
yeah,
but I think if the Packers win, they will win by multiple possessions, and they will come out there and there'll be not a single doubt from the start of the football game until the end that the Packers are the better team, and they're going to play that way if they win.
for sure.
But
Yeah, I mean, you want to talk NBA? You want to talk college basketball? What's up?
yeah, I mean, we were just talking about exciting, and I was going to transition into it just before I kind of felt talking about that Packers thing for a second because that one just kind of came to me on the spot. Siakam being traded to the Pacers for basically a bag of chips and a half-eaten pickle. The real package included Bruce Brown and 3 first-round picks, but in today's NBA, a first-round pick, especially if you get a team that's in the playoffs, you're picking 25th to 30th. Those guys don't pan out that often unless
Yeah,
it's a good franchise that's good at scouting, and they're going to get a good guy whether they pick him at 28th or at 58th. Even Jokic was picked super late. I mean, it's just about good scouting and doing your due diligence. Every once in a while, there's a guy that's deserves to go number one, and you got that guy. But how often does that come?
yeah,
Even the few guys that have went number one overall the last few years, are any of them really groundbreaking players? So that's what I'm saying. They for what they had to give up, yeah, give me Siakam because I saw JJ Redick talk a little bit about this today, and I really like JJ. He really breaks down the game well. Um, Siakam just fits perfectly into the Pacers offense. He's first in fast break points. Tyrese is first in fast break assists. I mean, Tyrese Halliburton is first in fast break assists. Siakam's first in fast break points. It's like Siakam's having his highest career dunks and points in the paint this year. Tyrese is going to get him the ball. And it's like the Pacers are such a fast paced team, and that's Siakam's game, man. Like, it's going to be super, even more exciting to watch the Pacers play now. They might put up 135, 140 a game, honestly. Like, not
mm.
even exaggerating, because I've already seen them put up 150, 160 a couple of times this year.
Oh,
And
couple. Oh, yeah,
a lot.
like at least 5 to 10 times.
And he's a good defender too. I think he's going to help them. Like him and Miles Turner together, like in the paint. That scares me a little bit if I'm trying to drive. Like I don't love that matchup. If I'm an opposing guard, I know Anthony Edwards and Dame. Well, Dame's kind of not really as explosive going to the rim as he used to be. But if I'm that kind of guard, I'm not scared of anybody. But I'm definitely not trying to dunk over those two guys as I am like a surprisingly, like Rudy Gobert. Like Rudy Gobert seems to get dunked on all the time. It seems like nobody fears him, even though he won Defensive Player of the Year and he's blocking this and blocking that,
Yeah,
whatever. Nobody's scared of him. I'm scared of Miles Turner and Pascal Siakam in the paint. Those are guys that are young, they're athletic, and they will pick up a couple of fouls to make sure you get the message. But yeah, Pacers. I think I'll let you talk about it a little bit too. But the big question I want to ask you is, does this make them a legitimate contender in the East? I know the Celtics are still amazing, but does this put them at number two?
no, no, definitely does not put them on 2. I mean, uh, in my opinion, right, as long as he's in the East and at least has a decent supporting role around him, which he does right now, and it's kind of been the same role for the past, whatever many years, Giannis is going to be number 2 at
Yeah,
least, if not number 1. In the Bucks, Giannis in the Bucks, but it's really tough for me right now because, like, in my opinion, right, the 76ers are always like a very like weird spectacle to me in the East because it's like they will play really, really good ball for like a month and a half, and then all of a sudden it's like, what are the 76ers doing, right? And
right.
usually, unfortunately, it's because of injury. And so can they stay healthy? Can they make a move at the deadline? I don't know. But honestly,
I don't
I
think
think
they
the
need
East
to.
is wide open this year. Yeah, the Celtics are up there. Yeah, the Bucks are up there. 76ers. I'm personally am really high on Cleveland. I think Cleveland is a really good team, especially if they start clicking together.
Well, they're
Like,
not healthy right now. That's a big problem
I'm,
for them.
I'm,
It's hard. Yeah, it's hard to. Yeah, and I think you're right. I almost forgot about them because they haven't been healthy.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, you got Jared Allen in the paint, like playing defense, who's a monster. You've got Mobley, Garland, and Spida. I mean, that's like a borderline all star, like quadruple guys right there. You know what I mean? And then
Yeah,
you've
and
got
Karis LeVert off the bench.
oh yeah, I mean that team is, in my opinion, is that's like one of my. I know this is gonna sound crazy. It's like one of my like favorite teams in the league though, because I like all of those guys. Like I
Yeah,
love all of those guys. I've always loved Karis LeVert. Um, Knicks are weird. Heat like the Heat. For this is a weird, obscure comparison, but for anybody that watches baseball, another team in Florida, the Heat are essentially like the Tampa Bay Rays every year. It's like,
yeah,
oh, okay, their run's over. They've been good the past couple of years. They're not going to be the good. Whoa, the Heat are fourth in the East or something like that. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, the Rays won the AL East again. How? It's like the Heat are always so weird because when it comes around that time again, it's really hard to count them out. And like Jimmy Butler just like goes from 0 to 60 when it comes playoff times. It's so weird. But the Heat, in my opinion, are down this year. In my opinion, I don't think the Knicks are very good, honestly. Even though they're like the 5 seed, I think they're 5 seed in the East right now.
yeah. I mean that OG pickup was good for him. They've been
Yeah,
a lot better with him on the floor. But yeah, I mean the Heat, their defense is what keeps them
yeah,
relevant all the time. They always play good defense. I think Spo is the next pop, in my opinion.
oh yeah,
Like
oh
I
yeah,
think that generate like this next generation coming up. Eric Spoelstra is like what Greg Popovich was to us. I think he's going to
yeah.
be with
And
the
I
Heat
think he just got like a.
forever.
Didn't he just get like an eight
Yes,
year extension or
yeah,
something like that?
he
So
got a
yeah,
big extension, and they waited till after his divorce. That's a real one for the Heat. They waited till his divorce was finalized before they gave him his contract.
but then yeah, the Pacers are right there. Like I'd probably put them. I'd probably say like the Celtics are like the top dog right now, right?
Yeah,
And then like there's
definitely.
probably like I'd probably say Milwaukee and Philly and Cleveland. Well, it's weird because like Milwaukee's kind of in front of Philly and Cleveland, but if both of those teams are healthy, I'd group those in with Milwaukee, Philly, Cleveland, and then I'd say Indiana's kind of in that next tier, which is
Hmm.
Knicks, Knicks, Heat, Pacers, and then don't sleep on them. They're young right now, but I'd throw the Magic in that group too. I
No,
think the
they
Magic
look good.
is a ball club.
Yeah, they look good. See, I'm putting the Pacers in that second group with the Bucks and the Sixers, in my opinion, with this Siakam trade. And I want to hear a little bit more of your thoughts about how Siakam fits in that offense or in the defense both. I think offensively is really why they picked him up.
Yeah,
Like I said, he's a solid defender, but that's not what you got him for.
yeah,
Yeah, I want to hear your opinion a little bit more on his fit.
yeah. I mean, I didn't know the thing about like the fast breaks and stuff like that you like said that JJ Redick.
JJ
Yeah.
Redick just helped me out. I didn't even know
But
that
I mean,
until
like that's pretty sick. I really like the offense. I think it stretches the floor out a little bit more for them too, because like, I mean, you've got Reese, you've got Siakam, you've got Turner. Okay, Reese is a bigger guard, I'd say, and then but then you've got guys like Benedict Mathurin, who's a bigger body. You've got like Buddy Hield, who's just gonna
yeah,
just all game.
mhm,
Obi Toppin, hello, welcome
solid.
back, Obi Toppin.
Yeah.
Jalen Smith, former Phoenix Suns legend. Like, I really like this team. I think though the only problem I had with this trade was that it was Bruce Brown that they gave up, and now I understand why they went veteran, whether like a younger guy like Nimhard or what's that one dude's name on their team? Nimhard
Talking
or
about Naismith,
no, not Naismith.
he can
Nawara.
ball.
Nawara.
Oh yeah.
Nawara. I don't think he
I think
plays.
no. I think he was part of that trade deal. I think he
Oh, was
was.
he?
I think so. There was another player in that deal
Okay.
that was other than Bruce Brown. I really probably should have like looked more into it, but they did give up a player that doesn't play very much. That doesn't
Oh, it
play very
was
many minutes.
Jordan Nawara. Yep, I just looked it
Yeah,
up. Yeah.
yeah,
Okay, so that I didn't know that. I thought it was just Brown and three. I never saw it because it happened when I was at work, so I didn't really.
yeah.
I didn't see. I was getting all.
Well,
I kind
and
of
it
had
didn't even. Yeah,
a
it didn't
ton
come
of.
out at first that he was a part of it either. It just said
Yeah,
Bruce Brown in draft consideration, and then it
yeah.
comes out more and more,
Okay.
and then you
Yeah.
get the third, and then you get the Pelicans are involved in there. And it always like the NBA trades are. They're
Yeah,
always
they're
weird.
whack. They're kind of
Yeah,
whack.
yeah.
But my one problem is with them now is I feel like their guard depth is a little like diminished just a little bit. But
No,
I
I mean
think
you just named Buddy Heald and Benedict Mathurin. Those are both guys coming off the bench. They're both off the
oh,
bench right
do
now.
they? Oh, I thought
Yes.
Matthew starts.
No, they moved him to the bench. Him and Buddy Heald come off the bench together. Yes, they're both off the bench right now.
Oh shoot!
Yeah,
Oh my god! So who?
yeah,
So
that's
who
what
is
I'm saying.
they starting
So they're
Reed?
starting. No, they're starting Naismith.
Oh, okay, Aaron
Yeah,
Naismith. I see
yeah,
you.
and he is a hooper. That's what I'm saying, bro. He's sliding in my prize picks entries like almost every night. He's
No,
he's sliding in them.
dude, I think this team's dynamic is so funny because when I was watching them in the in-season tournament championship, I'm like, it, it's like, how did you get all like half of their team was like first round picks like within the past 3 years, but from a different team, like Jalen
Yeah,
Smith. Like it's like, whoa, how did you guys get these people? But I think it's hilarious. But I think I think this does help the Pacers. I think this can prevail them, which it's a weird thing. And there's a lot of basketball left, obviously. Like there's gonna be unfortunately, like somebody might get a season-ending injury and a team
yeah.
falls off because of that. But like stuff like that. There's going to be trades where it's like, whoa, they traded that guy, like stuff like that. But I think this takes the Pacers from being a like kind of guaranteed play-in team to having a legitimate chance of like hopping up to like the 4 seed or the 5 seed, 4, 5, 3 seed, somewhere in there. I think it really does. But I would love to see them make a move again at the deadline and go get a different, like a guard, like a kind of like a veteran guard, like a Bruce Brown. I don't really know who would be out there. I do know a name. I don't know if he'd fit, but I know Terry Rozier is probably going to be out there from my Hornets, and I wouldn't mind us getting a guy like Jalen Smith if they were willing to give him up or a pick for
Yeah.
Terry Rozier to go to Indiana. But
That
I think
offense would be scary. If you put Terry in that offense, I know people sleep on Terry because he plays for the Hornets, but he can ball.
he can
Especially
ball.
come crunch time. First
Oh,
first
what,
first half
what the
Terry
key,
first half Terry is like your local high school like point guard. Second half Terry is just a baller. Like it's
dude?
crazy how different he plays in the second half.
Oh my gosh, I love me some fourth quarter tea, man.
Through four, yeah, for real.
I love
Yeah,
him. But
dude.
the one thing I did want to say though was you were talking about the picks not really mattering. I disagree. I think it's a whole different side. You said a bag of chips. I'm thinking the Pacers low key might have gotten fleeced. Like Bruce Brown and 3 firsts and now Jordan Nwora. Ooh, dog, that's a big package, man. That's a really big package. And now I would understand if it was a Milwaukee Bucks, right, making a trade that big. I would understand if the Bucks are doing it because it's like, hey, we just elevated us from like potential contenders or like contenders to like really, really contending now. But the Pacers did it in a fact of, okay, hey, we just got ourselves out of the play-in tournament and are definitely going to be seeded now in like in the
Yeah, I know,
playoffs.
but
But
you got to think like I think this is a win-win trade because
no,
the Raptors are setting themselves up great for the future. I
I
mean,
agree.
they got quickly, they got Barrett, they got first round picks now. I mean, they did a good job, but like let's be kind of real about the Pacers. Their window is not. They have a lot of young players, but their window is not huge. It's not like they have Reese under a supermax contract right now. It's
Yeah,
not like they have Miles Turner under. I mean, I know he's under a bigger, like a longer contract than Halliburton, but his contract isn't like very long either. And when you think about the Pacers, to me, we just talked about the NFL. They are the Texans. If they get hot in the playoffs, they can upset some teams and legitimately make a Hawks type Eastern Conference Finals run. Like I think they can do that. I think they have, especially if they get matched up with Philly, who every single their whole team is full of people who do not like the spotlight. Tobias Harris, what does he do every playoffs? Where's Tobias? They try to trade him every summer because he didn't show up in the playoffs. Right now he's balling. He just shot 40. Like Joel, whether he's injured or whether he's not, he doesn't show up in the playoffs. He hasn't. He proved why he shouldn't have won MVP last year because what did Jokic do? Jokic won and won a chip. Joel had a like. I know they had similar teams in my opinion. They like it's not like he had a much better team than Philly. James Harden always will no show in the playoffs because he's just not. He doesn't have that dog in him, dude. He just like, and that's such a stupid thing to say, but it's something about him. I just feel like he doesn't have that competitive drive. Like he's kind of like Ben Simmons. Like Ben Simmons. Imagine if Ben Simmons cared about basketball. He would be so good. I feel like James Harden's the same way. He's like, dude, I'm just playing extra games at this point. I'm not getting paid for this.
Yeah.
So, I think the Pacers can make it to the Eastern Conference Finals if they get the right seeding and they get the right matchups. They're like the Texans. I mean, if the Texans beat the Ravens, they're going to the Super Bowl. I think Pacers are kind of the same. They're on that same wave. So just be careful. Just be careful. The Pacers are, in my opinion, I know you'll come around after we see him play a couple games.
Yeah.
I think obviously they're the fourth best team in the East right now, right? I mean, you said it. You got the Bucks. You got no particular order. You got the Bucks, Sixers, Celtics, Pacers. I mean, you could put the Cavs over them if you want. Then they're fifth.
I have to put the Cavs
But
over.
but with how many injuries they have right now, their final seeding might not end up that way. And if you have that extra game in Indy instead of in Cleveland, that's important. Indy's a big basketball like state. They just built a court in their airport, bro. Like they're a big basketball state. I mean, that stadium is going to be rocking. And if they get that 4 seed instead of the 5, I mean, that's going to be a huge difference.
Yeah, for sure. And then transitioning, talk about basketball.
Go ahead.
Yeah, we talked about it last time we were on here together without Boston because he's a loser. We talked about college basketball, right? We did our way too early Final Four predictions. So we just want to check in with college basketball real quick. Just check in, see how it's doing. So remind me of your 4 teams.
I had Texas, so I don't even know if the rest of them are qualified because Texas just got their horns down by USF, or was it UCF? No, it was UCF. Sorry,
it was UCF
because
the coach was like, "That's not."
Yeah, he's like, "It's classless." Like, shut up! You can't be doing this all the time, and then when people do it back, it's classless. I hate that. I hate the whole stupid horns up, horns down thing. Let's just clarify that now. It is the dumbest thing in all of college sports. It's so stupid. Whether it's horns up or horns down, they're both so dumb and whatever. But mine were just weird. I had Kansas. You had Kansas. They're always just Kansas, and then I had a random team.
They are currently third in the nation.
Yeah, they're Kansas. They're good.
Kansas.
And you had UNC, and that's your team. And I know, and I get it, but they're playing some good basketball right now. The ACC play is started. They handled Clemson. They're gonna still have Duke, which is just a different game. It doesn't matter what each team is ranked. It doesn't matter. Like that is just its own separate thing. But the ACC isn't quite as strong as it normally is, so they're not going to be quite as tested as normal. And because of that, they might get a high seeding, and that would really help them.
Yeah, here's my thing, right, with this North Carolina team. And I can't remember if I said it in that last episode or not, but for the first time ever in my life, I am able to sit down at night and watch TV pretty much every night because I'm kind of like transitioning into this like real adult thing, like where I have a job and I'm tired by 6:30 and whatever. But I've been able to watch every single North Carolina game this year, and I don't plan on not watching a North Carolina game this year. And that's my goal, right? That's one of my 2024 goals: watch every single North Carolina basketball game. But no, I'm just kidding. But dude, this team is playing really good right now. And the question was, before going into ACC play, is how can this team handle road environments? We didn't really have any road games. I don't think we had a true road game until ACC play because we had so many neutral site games. Going through our schedule, right, in November, home, Atlantis tournament, 3 games in Atlantis. Then we played ACC, SEC tournament, so that was neutral site. at home, Jimmy V Classic, CBS Sports Classic, Jumpman Invitational, all three neutral sites. Now that Jumpman Invitational is kind of iffy because it's essentially a home game because it's in Charlotte and we're playing
Yeah.
Oklahoma, so they're going to be like one section of Sooner fans and the rest is going to be Tar Heel Blue. And then at home, and then that's when we started our road trip, a 3-game road trip, Pitt, Clemson, NC State. Now Pitt's a weird team this year to me because they're like actually not that bad, but it's like they look bad because all their losses, they just get blown out. It's a really weird team. It's like they either win or they get blown out, and there's like no in between. Then Clemson, like you said, Clemson's playing good ball right now. I'm pretty sure they're still ranked, but they're playing really good ball, and we kind of handled them. We were playing. It was a really, really close game in the first half, and then we kind of pulled away a little bit, let them come back into it, and then finished it off with I think we won 65-55. That's right. I was going to say we won by 10. And then we played at NC State, which is always hard, even though it's 30 minutes down the road from Chapel Hill. They're a rival. It's not Duke rivalry level, but it's probably, I'd say, like, one of our, if not our second biggest rival, at least a top 5 rival for us.
Yeah. No, they're definitely second. They're definitely second.
Yeah. And we handled them pretty well. And then we went back home and we dogged Syracuse, who is not the same Syracuse team we usually see, but I still don't think they're like terrible. Then last night we dogged Louisville for one half, let them come back, and then ran away with it in the last like 4 minutes. But yeah, we're playing really good ball right now. I'm really excited to see what this team can do, man. I'm hoping we stay healthy. I'm hoping we can stay rolling. I'm not asking to win every single game from here on out, obviously. But once it becomes the month of March, I am. But I mean, the thing is with this team compared to recent North Carolina teams, even the team where we beat Duke and ended up Final Four 2 years ago and lost to Kansas in the national championship, we haven't had depth, right? We just really haven't had bench depth. We've really only had like 2, maybe 3 guys that can come off the bench and like give us some minutes. Like that national championship game, if I'm not wrong, our first option off the bench was Puff Johnson. And no offense to Puff Johnson. I like that guy. He's a cool guy. But he was awful, dude. He was terrible. Well, he wasn't terrible, because he actually played a good game against Kansas. But he just wasn't like, he shouldn't be your first guy off the bench. He should not have been our first guy off the bench. But that's what I love about this team this year is our depth. We've got Zayden High coming off the bench, who's a kind of like, he's not getting a lot of minutes, but he's a true freshman. He's a high flyer guy. He's going to play some good defense. He's going to give you effort. He's going to give just 100% when he's out there. He's just got to kind of find his stride as a freshman. He isn't really a scorer. Then we've got Seth Trimble, who is like drastically stepped his game up. He was kind of always known as a decent defender, and he couldn't really score. He was kind of on that Leaky Black like archetype, but now he's like, his defense has reduced a little bit, but his scoring has went up a lot more than what it was, and I'm really excited. I love having him as our first guy off the bench. We've got Jalen Washington, who showed flashes last year, and this year has been really solid off the bench as a big man role. If Armando gets in foul trouble, Jalen Washington comes off the bench and plays good minutes. And then I'm forgetting somebody. Oh my gosh, who am I forgetting?
I mean, you already named plenty. Like that's more than Carolina has had off the bench.
Jalen Withers. Yep, Jalen Withers. Transfer from Louisville, actually. So got to play his former team last night. And he is very iffy. He is very iffy because he usually either like comes off the bench and gives you like a solid like 8 to 12 points and plays good defense, or he comes off the bench and turns the ball over 8 times and shoots 0 for 6. But he's another effort guy. He is another effort guy, and he's going to play some defense at least. So I'm really excited. And then RJ's like national player of the year conversation right now, in my opinion. Armando hasn't been the same old Mondo, which is crazy to say because I'm pretty sure he's still averaging a double-double. And then Cormac Ryan's been an awesome shooter for us. Harrison Ingram's playing really good ball, and then Elliot Cadeau is still a little nervous to me. That's the best way I can explain it. A little nervous, but he's still hooping. I mean, that man could pass the ball. But I'm really excited to see what this team does. Go Heels. And then I'm excited about my prediction right now. Kansas, Purdue, North Carolina, the 2, 3, and 4 team in the country right now. And then Memphis just cracked the top 10. So, and that was my 4th team. So I'm really excited for that. But man, I've been big into college basketball regular season this year, which is weird for me to say, but I'm excited for March Madness, man.
Yeah, it's going to be great. I'm excited for our predictions to be just completely awful.
Yeah, all 4 teams on both of ours just get eliminated in the first round.
For real.
It's like Kansas, Purdue, North Carolina, and Memphis are all 1 seeds, and they all just get beat by the 16 seeds. Like, oh my god!
The first year ever. Yeah, it'd be so funny. Yeah, I'm excited to run a bracket with y'all. I think on here we gotta do like a bracket, just like a show where we just all 3 of us just build one together. That's gonna be super fun.
That'd be sick.
Yeah, so I'm excited for that. So if you guys, I know March is not that really far away, so just be on the lookout. We're gonna build a bracket together for a show. It's gonna be super fun.
Speaking of brackets, get into guarantees.
Yeah, that's what I was about to go right into it
because we had a little contest. Off-camera contest. Whose separate bracket videos got like the most views and likes, and we had a little point system for it. And I mean, I would say the best bracket won, wouldn't you?
It did. It definitely did. It got to a point. Where my bracket was so bad, I was like, I don't even know if I want to send this unless it's just like a comedic. Like I was kind of hoping at that point I got the rest of them wrong because it's like, yeah, I can at least post it. I got every single one wrong. But yeah, no, it got to the point where I was like, yeah, Cam's gonna win this one. So as a prize for that, we're gonna give him an extra win on his guarantees and also take a loss off for him. Second place is going to be minus a loss, but me and Boston both sucked so bad. We're not even honestly going to do that. So we're just going to let Cam basically only have 1 loss on his record now, or 2 losses, which is crazy that he's only 1 loss on your record. And
I go to 8-1. I was 6-2. I was 6-2 last week. My guarantee was right, so that made me 7-2. Then I added a win and took off a loss, so I'm 8-1 now.
Yeah,
let's go.
Insane. So I'm gonna let you go first, and I'll just copy you.
Oh no!
No, I'm just messing. Yeah, you go ahead though.
Because I feel like I'm jinxing them because I talked them up so nice earlier in the show, and I feel like I'm like due for a loss, and I really don't want to do it because then it screws my bracket too, my NFL playoff bracket. But I'm gonna go very simple this week. I'm gonna take Lions money line at home.
Okay, no, I like that one.
Lions win. Guaranteed.
Yeah,
Lions
money line, same thing. We'll do the betting because there's a lot of bettors out there, and people like your parlay. So
bet?
I'm gonna.
I don't bet.
Especially come March, but. I'm actually gonna pull a U. I'm gonna go a parlay this week.
Oh,
So I have an interesting parlay coming.
Okay.
I don't, if you have FanDuel or something like this, you can do this. You can't really do this on PrizePicks. But my guarantee for this week is Landon's parlay. We're gonna go CJ Stroud over 2.5 touchdown passes. Hammer it. We're gonna copy you. Yeah, we're gonna go. Jordan Love over 1.5 touchdown passes. Hammer it. And we're going to go Josh Allen. I don't know if you can adjust unders because we don't have FanDuel, but under 1.5 interceptions. I think he throws 1. I don't think he throws 2. Hammer it. Those are my 3, and that's all 1 guarantee. So let's recap since we're just going to click them. CJ Stroud over 2.5 tutties. Jordan Love over 1.5, and Josh Allen under 1.5 interceptions. That's what we're going with. We're here.
Bob.
I just came up. I just came up with that on the spot too, because I was gonna guarantee that the Buccaneers didn't lose by didn't lose by more than 10 points, but I was like, I don't love
Mm,
that. But I really don't think they're going to lose by more than 10, but
yeah.
yeah. But
Okay.
that's it. And unless you had anything else that you wanted to talk about real quick, we got a couple of minutes. We're early without Boston. I don't know what the heck, man.
Well, Boston, if anyone wanted to know, is on a business trip to Aruba,
Mm-hmm.
aka vacation with a ring, if you
Yeah.
know what I mean.
Yeah. Big congrats to Boston.
Yep.
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah. So we're gonna wrap it up on that one. He'll be back next week. We'll have all three of us, and I'm guarantee you that my predictions will be wrong and Cam's will be right.
Whoa.
Appreciate y'all.
Whoa.
Yeah, I had to jinx you. I have to jinx you because my guarantees have been so bad. If I guarantee yours are gonna be right and they'll
Oh.
be wrong.
Oh, one thing. And Boston will love this. To all my Steeler fans out there, Mason Rudolph is no better than Ryan Tannehill. And that's what I'm going to off with this week. That's all I got to say.
Yeah, peace out. Thanks for sticking around with us, and we'll see you next week.